We are now going to discuss how to add insurance to a patient's file. After your patient has been added to Katana and a case has been created, you can add insurance by selecting the Insurance tab in the patient's file and go down to Add and Edit. We are going to select Create New Policy, hit Next, New Primary, hit Next, and then we're going to select the policy holder. In this example, we're going to select this patient as self, but other options are another patient, where another patient is the policy holder, a non-patient is the policy holder, or a company. If a non-patient is the policy holder, you must go to your patient's area of your Katana toolbar, add the new patient in, and add in their policy. Once we have made our selection, we're going to hit Next. And now I'm going to add the specific payer I'm going to tie to this patient. If the specific payer is not listed, you can always hit Add Payer to add in the payer's information so they are added to the list. You would select and hit the Next button. We're going to first add in the insurance ID number. We're going to select the relationship to the insured. In this case, it is self. And the following areas below are designed to keep your patient's ledger as accurate as possible. Please keep in mind that Katana does not communicate with any outside sources, so some of this information may have to be adjusted or it may not be 100% accurate. We're going to indicate if the patient has a copay amount by entering in that amount. We're going to select the insurance percentage of coverages. So if the patient does have a copay, we're going to go ahead and select the percentage above the copay that the insurance is responsible for. If I select 100%, that means that 100% of the charges over the copay will go to insurance responsibility. If I happen to put in something like 80%, that means the remaining 20% of charges will go back to the patient. Katana by default will apply the copay towards the deductible. If you do not want the copay applied to the deductible, you will have to select the box provided under copay that states do not apply copay to deductible. Please keep in mind that if the area was left at 0%, that will mean that everything will go to the patient. That's the copay amount plus the rest of the charges. You can enter a policy reset date if the policy has one. You can indicate if this policy is a capitation plan, which just means that a flat fee for each patient the payer covers is provided. You can enter a yearly max visit amount, stating that maybe the patient only gets 12 yearly visits for chiropractic care. You would indicate the number of visits used as of today's date, so the system knows where to start counting. You can enter a deductible amount, enter what's remaining to be met. So again, the system knows where to start counting. Or you can do a yearly max dollar amount. Maybe the patient only gets $1,500 worth of chiropractic care, and maybe they've used nothing to date. If you have created a fee schedule for that specific insurance payer, you can go ahead and select it from the drop-down. This will make sure that Katana is discounting those specific services if an allowed amount is provided. If for any reason you have to exhaust the benefits for the patient, You can select the button that says Benefits Exhausted, suspend all billing until reset date, and then you can indicate what the patient is responsible for, whether it's the price list amount, what you actually charge for the specific service, or the fee schedule allowed amount set forth by insurance. If you're billing as a courtesy and you just want to make sure that the insurance is available for a super receipt, you can select the Hold HCFA button, telling Katana not to generate any HCFA forms for this specific patient. You will select the Authorization of Benefits box. You will indicate if there is another health benefit plan. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and select yes, so I can show you how to select a secondary insurance. You will indicate to the software whether you accept assignment. Selecting yes will mean that the payment will come to you directly. If you select no, any payments would be made to the patient. You can add in any other necessary information into the boxes provided. You also have the ability to add in an adjuster's information and phone number. Moving on, we're going to go ahead and select Next. We're going to leave it as Create New Policy. If you are done and you do not need to enter a secondary, you can go ahead and hit Finished. But for this example, we're going to go ahead and hit Next. We're going to select New Secondary. Again, for this patient, select the specific secondary payer, and then enter in the necessary information. With the secondary policy, none of the policy limits will reflect. So if you have a patient that has a primary and a secondary, and between the two, it covers at 100%, make sure when you're entering in that primary's information that you do go ahead and select 100% so the patient is not responsible for charges. We're going to go ahead and move down. I'm going to select that the authorization of benefits is accepted. We're going to select no because this patient does not have a tertiary insurance. We're going to state that we do accept assignment. And the last area to focus on when entering a secondary is the box 9's area. Even though we're entering in the secondary's information, we're going to leave it associated to the primary tab because we want the secondary's information to print on the primary HCFA form. We're going to go ahead and add in the insured's name. And then the insured's policy or group number. Adding it in on this screen allows you to copy and paste that insurance ID number. Once I am finished making my selections, I'm going to go ahead and hit Next, and then I'm going to select the Finish button. I'm going to tell the system when I want these changes to take effect, and I actually want to backdate my insurance policy to the 1st. If a patient has come in and has charges attached to their file, make sure that the policy start date is at least 1 day prior to those charges that were entered. This ensures that those charges will get picked up by this insurance policy so you can go ahead and bill. Once I have selected my date, I'm going to go ahead and hit Next. The system is going to make sure that I want to go ahead and add this policy in, so I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to hit Finished. Once you add in a new policy, you will not see all of the data that you just entered unless you X out of the patient's file. You do not have to log out of Katana, just X out of the patient, double click them open again, go back to their insurance tab, and all the information entered will display.